So I've been using my dual PC setup for streaming for over a year and a half. And honestly, it's been the best thing I ever did for my streaming and my sanity. My gaming PC can just focus on the game while my streaming PC handles everything related to OBS, recording, and audio. Nothing's fighting for resources, and a game crashing doesn't end my stream. I'm less stressed, life is good. Except for this one very specific, very annoying problem. My mic could only live on one PC at the same time. My whole audio setup, mic included, ran through my streaming PC, which is great until I was streaming a game that needed my audio input or my friends wanted to play a game with me off stream. And suddenly I found myself using two microphones at the same time, or more often, I was reaching over my desk to physically unplug and move my XLR cable from my streaming to my gaming rig's audio interface. And I hear you think, but what's the problem? But if you know me, you already know where this is going. I would forget to switch it back every single time. This meant that Windows was changing my default device, my friends couldn't hear me speak, Discord was suddenly using a controller as a mic input, or OBS couldn't find my mic at all. It was not very cute. So, when Elgato sent me the Wave XLR Pro, this was the actual problem I needed solving. It wasn't about make my audio sound nice because it already did, but it was actually about stop making me choose between one PC or the other. More specifically, help me use my XLR mic on both of my PCs at the same time, but also separately. And honestly, this is exactly what the Wave XLR Pro is doing for me. So, let me tell you how. Quick distinction, because this matters more than people think. The Wave XLR Pro is a mixer, not an interface. An audio interface basically just gets your mic into a computer. It converts the analog signal to a digital one, and that's kind of it. You're still doing all the leveling, your mixing, and your routing in a software program, which for a streamer, that usually means you do it in OBS or Streamlabs. A mixer does that conversion too, but it also lets you actually control and blend multiple audio sources before they ever hit your software. Your mic, your game audio, Discord, music, alerts, right there on the hardware in real time. The Wave XLR Pro may look a little different than the mixers you might be used to because it doesn't have any physical dials or buttons. But that doesn't mean it's any less powerful. It runs 7 onboard DSP effects, and Elgato promises you zero latency monitoring of your processed voice, which means including all DSP effects. As someone that always has monitoring on when I stream, I'm really happy to no longer hear the buzzing of my PC through my mic when I monitor my voice. This technology was already available in Elgato's Mark II Wave products, including the XLR and XLR docks for Stream Deck Plus. But the Pro takes it one step further because it's built from the ground up to handle two PCs at once, natively in hardware. Not technically possible if you get creative with cables, it was actually designed for it. And here is where it gets really interesting for those of us with a 2 PC setup. Instead of multiple audio interfaces, headphones, one XLR cable getting swapped back and forth, the Wave XLR Pro gives me two USB connections on the back. My streaming PC is connected to the host port, while my gaming PC is connected to the aux port. My mic's XLR cable goes into the XLR input 1, and my headphones go into headphone output 1 on the front. That's my whole physical setup done, and I'm not doing any more desk gymnastics. On top of that, it's got a second XLR input and a second headphone output. So if I ever wanted to host a podcast with a co host, they would have their own microphone and headphones ready to go. There's also a line in and line out port for even more routing flexibility. Now, remember host and aux, the two ports I just mentioned? That's really the key to this whole dual PC setup. So let's break down what each one actually does. Your host PC is the one calling the shots. It's the one where you install the Wavelink software and where you configure your mixes and routing. For me, that's my streaming PC. Your aux connection is your second PC. For me, that's my gaming rig, and it basically taps into that same mixed signal without needing to run the Wavelink software or fight for control. Just make sure to set the Wave XLR Pro as your default audio input and output on that PC. And then you're good to go. Here's the really cool part. The Wave XLR Pro mixes both audio sources right there in hardware. My streaming PC doesn't even need to be on for my aux PC to keep all my mixing and routing settings. It just remembers. So now if my friends want to hop on a Discord call off stream, I don't touch a single cable. My microphone and headphones are just ready to go. Genuinely, the first time that it worked, it felt like magic. I was too stunned to speak. But let me set you up for success by sharing how I routed my microphone back to my gaming rig so Discord could pick it up. Wavelink is Elgato's virtual audio mixing and routing software. It's basically a grid based interface that we call a routing table, and it allows you to visually map audio inputs like your mic, your game, your music, your alerts to specific outputs like your headphones, your stream mix, your VOD, and for me, with the Wave XLR Pro, also my AUX PC. Basically, you're deciding source by source where does this sound go? Maybe Discord goes to your headphones but not your stream. Maybe your music goes to your stream, but not your VOD. Maybe the game audio goes everywhere. The routing table is what makes that possible. I will not go into full detail about Wavelink, the routing table, and setting up your mixes because I already made an entire video breaking that down start to finish. I'll drop that right up here and link it below if you want the deep dive. In Wavelink, I made a mix called Gaming PC Out. I added my mic as an input to it and routed that mix straight to my aux output. Click on the name of the mix at the top of your routing table. Then, under Audio Output, click Add Output and select the USB out option from the dropdown. Anything you make available to this mix gets sent to whatever's on the other end of the USB cable plugged into the aux. That can be a PC, but it can also be a console. Just make sure that the input on that PC or console is set up correctly. The Wave XLR Pro on its own is already great, but pair it with the Stream Deck and it just clicks into another gear. Instead of all tabbing into Wavelink midstream to mute myself or adjust a mix or swap what's going to my aux PC, I've got it all sitting right in front of me as physical buttons. One button mutes my mic, one toggles whether Discord's going out to stream or staying private, and then there's the dials on my Stream Deck Plus. One controls my mic's gain, one is my personal mix, one is my music volume, one is the gaming PC, and all is just a twist away without opening anything. To me, it's the difference between pause everything, I have to go dig through a menu, and just tapping a button while I keep talking to chat. And that's really the point of this whole ecosystem, right? The Wave XLR Pro isn't trying to be a standalone gadget. It's built to plug into the rest of your setup. And the Stream Deck is where all of that routing and mixing actually becomes usable in the middle of a live stream. And you don't need a Stream Deck to begin. There is a free app for Stream Deck that offers you 6 buttons for free. I've been using the Wave XLR Pro for more than a month, and I absolutely love this product because it actually solves a problem for me. But let's get real. When I first set this up, it wasn't obvious to me that I needed to make a mix with the output set to USB out to get any of this working on my gaming PC. It took me longer than I want to admit to figure out how I got this working, and I hope that that part of my video can at least help someone else out there. And another pro tip, I originally muted my mic with my Stream Deck and I picked the channel, which meant it muted it everywhere, including on the gaming PC outmix. This was fine in my previous ecosystem, but when I forgot to unmute it before turning off my streaming rig and then booted up my gaming PC by itself, there was no way to unmute my mic without turning my streaming PC back on. I learned that one the hard way, so don't be like me and have a button that only mutes your mic for stream, not as a source in general, so gaming stays unaffected no matter what you do. So, yeah, XLR Pro is a mixer, not an interface. There's two PCs, one XLR cable. There's no cable swapping chaos. They can independently be turned on and use your mic and all of your routing settings and your mixes. And if you have a Stream Deck, you can turn this whole thing into something you can actually control without breaking your flow. If you want the full Wavelink 3.0 setup, that video is linked right here, or you can find it in the description. And if you have questions about my dual PC setup specifically, or how I use my Elgato ecosystem or the XLR Pro, drop them in the comments and I'll get to them. Thanks again to Elgato for sending this one over. I'll catch you in the next one.